We can no longer tolerate your poor performance, Mia snapped, her eyes hard and unblinking, her voice sharp enough to cut through the office's glass walls. She slammed the termination papers onto the desk between them. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately. Kelsey stared at the papers, too shocked to speak. Her mind flashed back to the operating room, where she'd given this same woman part of her liver to save her life. As the surgical mask covered her face, she knew she could still back out. No one would blame her. What she didn't know then was that 3 months after her sacrifice, Mia would call her into this office and fire her.
But this story didn't start in that operating room. 6 months earlier, Kelsey was at the top of her career, head of design development at Mia Peter's luxury fashion house. She didn't just design, she built the engine that made Mia's vision real. Mia was the brand face, Kelsey was the engine. Then one morning, everything collapsed. Kelsey arrived at work to find security guards waiting at her desk. Mia Peters stood behind them, arms crossed, looking like she hadn't slept. "Our fall collection leaked," Mia said. "Designs worth millions. A competitor is launching it next week." Kelsey's stomach dropped. "What? How is that even possible?" "Audit logs show your credentials accessed the vault at 2 a.m. Thursday. You're the only person besides me with that clearance." "Mia, I was home that night. I can prove it." "Then someone used your login, which means you were either careless or complicit." Police officers stepped forward. "I'm sorry, Kelsey," Mia said quietly. "I have to protect this company." 4 months in prison blurred together in orange and gray. Fingerprints, mugshots, a cell with peeling paint and a toilet that barely worked. Her cellmate, Rosa, was weathered, wise. "Rich people don't forgive debts, honey," she said one night. "They resent them." Kelsey didn't understand then. Court appearances came and went. Her lawyer was overworked and underpaid. The evidence was overwhelming. Her login credentials, her access window, digital fingerprints everywhere. Mia testified neutrally, clinically, never once saying she believed Kelsey might be innocent. 4 months in, her lawyer appeared, exhausted but relieved. "A cybersecurity firm traced the breach. Your credentials were cloned, overseas IP. You're free to go." Kelsey exhaled for the first time in months. The first night of freedom didn't feel like relief. It felt hollow. 4 months stolen, reputation destroyed, savings drained. Mia had never visited, never called. 3 days later, an email arrived. "Your position is available if you want it. I understand if you don't. Mia." Kelsey stared at those 2 sentences for hours. No apology, no explanation. Kelsey needed the job. Starting over in a new industry would take years. But more than that, some stupid, stubborn part of her wanted Mia to see she wasn't what she'd been accused of being. So she went back.
Mia collapsed during an investor pitch at Fashion Week 6 weeks later, right in the middle of her presentation. Chaos erupted. Paramedics rushed in. Kelsey watched from the back of the room, frozen in place. She was wheeled out on a stretcher, barely conscious. The office was locked down. Nobody knew what had happened. The following week, Kelsey's Aunt Linda visited. A transplant coordinator at Metropolitan Hospital, she'd been checking in regularly since Kelsey's prison release. "You sleeping any better?" Linda asked, setting her bag down. "Some nights," Kelsey said. Linda exhaled and rubbed her face. "I'll take that as a win." "You look exhausted," Kelsey said. "Don't even get me started." Linda kicked off her shoes. "Today was brutal." "What happened?" Linda sank onto the couch. "Lost a patient this morning. Kidney failure. Been waiting on a donor for over a year. Never got the call. I'm sorry." Yeah, she waved it off weakly. Then a car accident victim. Didn't make it either. She leaned her head back. And on top of that, we've got this liver case keeping the whole department on edge. Liver case? Kelsey asked casually, handing her a mug of tea. Linda took it gratefully. High-profile patient, transferred in last week. Acute liver failure. She took a long sip. People needing transplants are common. What's not common is cases where finding a match is basically impossible. So what happens then? Kelsey asked, concerned. Linda stared into her tea. You wait, and hope time stretches longer than the odds. She shook her head. In this case, doctors are being optimistic when they say 5 months. Kelsey's fingers tightened around her mug. Anyway, Linda said, forcing a lighter tone. Enough hospital doom. How are you really doing? I'm okay, Kelsey said. Just tired. Understandable. Linda squeezed her hand, then reached for her bag. I brought your favorites. She disappeared into the kitchen. Shortly, a familiar smell filled the apartment. They ate on the couch, plates balanced on their laps, while an old movie played quietly. For the first time since her release, Kelsey finished an entire meal. 2 days later, Kelsey was in the office restroom when 2 senior staffers walked in, unaware she was there. It's liver failure, one of them said quietly. She needs a transplant. Can't they just find a donor? Not that easy. She's AB negative, which is already rare. That bad? Worse. Apparently her tissue markers are rare too. Even people with the same blood type aren't compatible. They paused. Doctors said finding someone could take months. God. The door closed. Kelsey sat frozen in the stall. A B negative. Rare tissue markers. Then her mind flashed to the high-profile patient transferred to Metropolitan Hospital. Her hands shook as she stood. That night at 2 a.m., Kelsey sat at her kitchen table with her laptop open. Liver transplant compatibility requirements. The search results loaded. Blood type matching, HLA tissue markers, antibody screening. She stared at the screen, then walked to her desk. She dug through the drawer and found the manila envelope from her return-to-work medical report. She'd barely looked at the results. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. Page 2. Blood type, a B negative. Her breath caught. Page 3. HLA typing results. She stared at the paper. A B negative, the same blood type as Mia. The bathroom conversation echoed in her mind. Even people with the same blood type aren't compatible. The odds of matching were astronomical, but they weren't zero. Her heart pounded. What if she was a match? She thought about Mia collapsing, about the woman Mia used to be. 10 years ago, Kelsey had been a design school dropout working retail. Mia had seen her work at a small gallery show. You're wasting your talent folding sweaters, Mia had said. Come work with me. I don't have a degree. I'm betting on you anyway. I went through every design in your portfolio. They're impeccable. Mia had fought her boss to hire her, paid her from her own salary for 3 months. When Mia left to start Peters and Company, she'd said, I don't want to do this without you. 6 years of building everything together. To Kelsey, Mia was a sister. But when the leak happened, Mia had believed the evidence instead of believing her. Kelsey closed her eyes. That was the woman who was dying. Her sister. The one who'd betrayed her. But also the one who'd saved her first. She picked up her phone. Dialed. Metropolitan Hospital Transplant Center. How can I help you? Kelsey took a breath. I'd like to be evaluated as a potential living donor. The testing took 2 weeks. Blood work, tissue typing, medical history, psychological evaluation. Kelsey didn't tell anyone at work. She took personal days for appointments. The doctor called her on a Thursday afternoon. Ms. Moore, I have your results. Kelsey held her breath. You're a perfect match, extraordinarily rare. Are you willing to proceed? Kelsey sat in her car. Her hands were shaking. A perfect match. She could save Mia's life. Then she thought about walking away, about letting fate decide. But she also thought about Mia collapsing. "Yes," she said, "I'll do it. But I want to remain anonymous." The doctor paused. "Understood. We'll arrange everything. The surgery will be scheduled for 3 weeks from now." Kelsey nodded. "Okay, 3 weeks. You'll need to request medical leave from your employer. Recovery takes 10 to 12 weeks minimum." "I understand." 10 weeks later, Kelsey returned to work. Mia was back, fully recovered, radiant, telling everyone she'd had a close call but got incredibly lucky. Kelsey was thinner now, moved carefully. The chronic fatigue made every day a struggle. She and Mia passed each other in the hallway. "Kelsey, welcome back. How are you feeling?" "Getting there. Take your time." It felt almost normal. 2 weeks later, during a meeting, Kelsey reached across the table for fabric swatches. Her sleeve rode up, revealing a long surgical scar. Mia glanced at it, then looked away. Continued the meeting. But that night, alone, Mia stared at her own scar in the mirror. Then she Googled, "living liver donor scar location." Images appeared, right side, subcostal incision, running from sternum to side, exactly where Kelsey's scar was. Mia's hands shook. Kelsey had been on medical leave, 3 months, the exact same time as Mia. The timing, the scar, the location. No, it couldn't be. The next morning, Mia called Kelsey into her office and locked the door. "When did you have surgery?" Kelsey froze. "A few months ago." "The same time as mine?" Kelsey said nothing. "Show me the scar." "Mia, show me." Kelsey slowly lifted her shirt. The incision was unmistakable, large, surgical, positioned exactly where a liver donor's scar would be. Mia's legs gave out. She sat down heavily. "It was you," Kelsey nodded. You gave me." Mia couldn't finish the sentence. "Part of my liver, yes." Silence stretched between them. "Why?" Mia's voice cracked. "Why would you do that?" Kelsey looked at her. Mia was trembling. "I sent you to prison," Mia whispered. "I testified against you, and you. I thought about walking away, letting you die." Mia flinched. "But I'm not you, Mia." The words hung in the air like a verdict. "You made your choice when you had power over me. You chose to believe the worst, to protect yourself." Mia's face crumpled. "I made my choice when I had power over you," Kelsey continued. "I chose to save your life, even though you didn't deserve it." She stood to leave. "We're not the same, Mia, and we never will be." The first week after the revelation, Mia was overwhelming. Flowers arrived at Kelsey's desk daily. A $10,000 bonus appeared in her account with a note. "For medical expenses." Constant praise in meetings. During that same week, Mia sat for a television interview, glowing with health. "An anonymous donor gave me life. That's the future of Peters and Company." Kelsey watched from home, still in pain, still recovering. The NDA required them both to keep the donation confidential, so neither could publicly identify the other without consent. That was standard. That was legal. But Mia wasn't just keeping the donor confidential, she was erasing her. Again. Kelsey stared at the screen, something cold settling in her chest. In investor meetings, Mia's pitch deck included a new slide, Slide 17, the miracle that changed everything. Photos of Mia in the hospital, text about radical generosity and second chances. The projected valuation had jumped to $50 million. She was using the story, Kelsey's story, and Kelsey couldn't say anything. Over the next few weeks, something changed. Mia started avoiding eye contact with Kelsey in the hallways. Late at night, alone in her office, she would stare at Kelsey's employee photo on her computer screen, her face troubled. In a design meeting, Kelsey presented a new collection. Mia hesitated. It's good. But later, privately to her assistant, was it actually good, or did I approve it because I feel guilty? Mia stopped speaking to Kelsey directly. All communication went through intermediaries. In her therapist's office, Mia sat hunched forward, agitated. Every time I look at her, I see what she gave up. I see that scar, and I can't think clearly. Is her work good because it's actually good, or because I owe her? I can't trust my own judgment anymore. Dr. Reyes leaned forward. It sounds like the debt feels unbearable. It is. Mia, you can't have a healthy professional relationship with someone when the power dynamic is this distorted. You may need to create distance. For both your sakes. Mia stared at the floor. You mean fire her? I mean create boundaries that allow you both to move forward. Mia heard what she wanted to hear. 2 weeks later, Mia called Kelsey into her office. Papers were neatly stacked on the desk. Kelsey, your recent performance hasn't met our expectations. We're terminating your employment effective immediately. Kelsey stared at her, unable to process the words. You're firing me. This is a business decision based on documented performance issues. I gave you part of my liver. Mia's face hardened. And I'm grateful, but that doesn't entitle you to a position you're no longer qualified for. I'm not qualified. I built half this brand. Things change, Kelsey. The only thing that changed is I saved your life, and you can't stand owing me. This conversation is over. Security escorted Kelsey out. Over the next few weeks, Kelsey reached out to former colleagues. Most wouldn't talk to her, but Amy, a junior designer, agreed to meet for coffee. Mia spent months building a case against you. She consulted a lawyer about whether gratitude could be considered a conflict of interest. She showed Kelsey a leaked investor deck. Slide 17 stared back at her. The miracle that changed everything. The projected valuation was $50 million. She used my organ to make millions. Kelsey stormed into Mia's office the next day with the lawyer's letter. You've been using my sacrifice to pitch investors. I'm going public. I'm telling everyone it was me. Mia didn't flinch. She opened her desk drawer and slid a document across. The NDA. You signed this. If you disclose the donation publicly, you'll be in violation of federal medical privacy law. The hospital will sue you. I will sue you. You'll owe at least $500,000. You're threatening me? I'm protecting my legal right to medical privacy, as you agreed to do. Kelsey's voice broke. I saved your life. And I'm grateful, but gratitude doesn't void a contract. Tears streamed down Kelsey's face. The next 3 years were slow and painful. Kelsey moved to a smaller apartment. Freelance work, small clients. The chronic fatigue persisted. She didn't speak about Mia. She honored the NDA. But the scar remained, a constant reminder. Meanwhile, Peters and Company exploded. The Series C closed at $75 million. Mia was featured in Forbes, the CEO who found purpose through survival. She opened the Second Chance Initiative, supporting organ donation awareness. She never mentioned Kelsey. 3 years after the firing, Kelsey's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Ms. Moore, this is Dr. Patel from the Transplant Center. I'm calling about Mia Peters. Kelsey's blood ran cold. Ms. Peters is back on the donor list. Her transplanted liver is failing. She didn't follow post-transplant protocols. Would you consider being evaluated for a second donation? The line went quiet for a long moment. No. Ms. Moore, she may not survive without... I gave her my liver once. She used it to build an empire, then destroyed my career and threatened me into silence. Tell her to find her second chance somewhere else. Kelsey hung up. 1 week later, a handwritten envelope arrived at her apartment. No return address. She opened it slowly. Kelsey, I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but I'm dying, and I need to know. Do you regret it? Saving me the first time? I've tried to understand why you did it. After what I put you through, I still can't. Please, I need to know if you ever regretted giving me another chance. Mia. Kelsey sat at her kitchen table that night, staring at the letter. She picked up a pen and wrote, Mia, I don't regret saving your life. I regret thinking it would change you. She folded the letter carefully, walked to her desk, opened a drawer and placed it inside. She didn't mail it. Later that night, Kelsey sat at her drafting table under warm light. She was designing something beautiful, a dress with flowing lines, freedom in every stroke. The surgical scar was visible along her ribcage. She'd stopped trying to hide it. The television played quietly in the background. A news ticker scrolled across the bottom of the screen. Fashion CEO Mia Peters hospitalized in critical condition. Donor search underway. Kelsey glanced at the screen, then back at her sketch. She kept drawing. So here's what I learned. Saving someone's life doesn't mean they'll value yours. It just means they get to keep living. What they do with that life, that's on them. I don't hate Mia. I don't pity her. I'm just done. Some people spend their whole lives learning to say no. I learned it from a scar, and maybe that's the lesson worth remembering. Not everyone deserves a second chance from you, especially the people who've already wasted their first one. Drop a like if you've ever given someone everything and gotten nothing back, or if you've ever been used by someone you helped genuinely. Let me know in the comments. Would you have donated? Would you have refused the second time? See you in the next story.